See, this is the deep learning part 3 session. Okay, we'll see some more topics in deep learning. The main topic here is CNN. The full form is convolutional neural network. So, in this convolutional neural network, you can observe features of extraction layer and convolution layer. Okay, so here is the picture. You can understand shift and distortion invariance or subslaming layer. So here there are different layers in the neural network. So you can understand that convolutional neural network is a combination of layers. Detect the same feature at different positions in the input image in C layer. So this is the input image, and from this the features are taken. Okay, detect the same feature at different positions in the input image in C layer. After that, shared weights. All neurons in a feature share the same weights but not the biases. So shared weights means all neurons in a feature share the same weights. In this way, all neurons detect the same feature at different positions in the input image. Reduce the number of free parameters, and if a neuron in the feature map fires, this corresponds to a match with the template. S layer. The subsampling layers reduce the spatial resolution of each feature map. By reducing the spatial resolution of the feature map, a certain degree of shift and distortion invariance is achieved. Now we'll see the continuation of S layer. The weight sharing is also applied in subsampling layers. Reduce the effect of noises and shift or distortion. So we can reduce the effect of noises and shift. Applications are speech recognition, object detection, and web search. Text analysis, for text analysis. What are artificial neural networks? The next topic is what are artificial neural networks? It is a powerful, strong, as well as very complicated machine learning technique which mimics a human brain and how it functions. So, what are artificial neural networks means? It is a complicated machine learning technique which mimics a human brain and functions like a human brain, and how it functions. Mimics a human brain and how it functions. So it will be imitating a human brain. Like our human brain has millions of neurons in a hierarchy, a network of neurons which are interconnected with each other via axons and passes electrical signals from one layer to another called synapses. This is how we human learn things. Whenever we see, hear, feel and think something, a synapse is fired from one neuron to another in the hierarchy, which enables us to learn, remember and memorize things in our daily life since the day we were born. The next topic is what is about TensorFlow. TensorFlow is an open source library for deep learning. It is developed by the Google Brain team and released in 2015 November. 2015 in the month of November. Its version is 1 and it was launched in February 2017. So in this TensorFlow concept, you have to know all these model, optimizer, cost, placeholder, graph, all these are available. So we'll see about each and every one. Graph, it contains placeholders, gates where we introduce example. It contains model, makes predictions, set of variables and operations. Cost function that computes the model error. Optimizer, algorithm that optimizes the variables so the cost would be 0. Session, graph plus data, so this is called as session. Graph, data and session, what does they contain? Graph contains layout of the prediction and learning process. It does not include data. You have to remember that it does not include data. Only it is the layout of the prediction and learning process. Data. Examples that will train the neural network. It consists of two kinds, inputs and targets. Next one is session, where everything takes place. Here is where we feed the graph with data. Session is nothing but graph plus data. So you have undergone this graph. What does it contain? It contains the layout of the prediction and learning process. It does not include data. So and session data contains, it consists of two kinds, inputs and targets. Here you can observe by the picture. So once again we'll have a glance about this. What do you mean by artificial neural networks? Before that we have one more concept, that is CNN. CNN full form is convolutional neural network. So it has different layers and detect the same feature at different positions in the input image in C layer. So this is how the working goes on. It contains shared weights. All neurons in a feature share the same weights. Okay? In this way, all neurons detect the same feature at different positions in the input image. Reduce the number of free parameters. S layer. The subsampling layers reduce the spatial resolution of each feature map. By reducing the spatial resolution of the feature map, a certain degree of shift and distortion invariance is achieved. So the weight sharing is also applied in subsampling layers. Reduce the effect of noises and shift or distortion. The applications are, it is used in some of the applications like speech recognition, object detection and web search. What are neural networks? So it is artificial neural networks. So we have already gone through this slide. There is we shall have a glance about this. Like human brain has millions of neurons in a hierarchy and a network of neurons which are interconnected with each other via axons and passes electrical signals from one layer to another called synapses. This is how we human learn things. Whenever we see, hear and feel and think something, a synapse is fired from one neuron to another. The hierarchy, which enables us to learn, remember and memorize things in our day-to-day life since the day we have born. And what is about TensorFlow? It is an open source library. It is released in the year 2015 and launched in 2017. So about this graph, we'll see about the graph. Placeholders, it contains placeholders, model, cost function and optimizer. The placeholders are gates where we introduce example. Model means makes predictions. Cost function means cost function computes the model error. And optimizer it does algorithm that optimizes the variables so the cost would be zero. So the cost would be zero. Algorithm that optimizes the variable so the cost will be zero.